Hey there, welcome to Chubs Gone Wild, episode 428, recorded on January 24, 2022. It is currently 59 degrees and partly cloudy outside the Chubs Gone Wild remote studios, where it is 280 days until Halloween, 335 days until Christmas, 21 days until Valentine's Day, and only 52 more days until St. Patrick's Day. So the question comes, who wants to be our Valentine? Who wants a chubby Valentine? Tom and I are going to send a Valentine out to one lucky listener. All you have to do is email us at chubsgonewild@gmail.com and say, I want to be your Valentine. And we will put you into the contest and select you at random. That's how we roll. Hi, Tom. How are you?
Great.
Good. I'm happy to hear that. You're looking fun and festive today.
Am I?
Yes. And if you want to see Tom, all you have to do is go over to youtube.com and Google horror. No, just Google us over at youtube.com and you can watch the video of this very show. I know he's busy making notes because he watched a lot of stuff this week.
No, I'm actually looking through pages of pictures.
Of me?
What?
Of me?
I hope not.
Okay. Well, Patreon offers folks a way to support creators and receive rewards not open to the general public, like special podcasts, videos, books, and more. And we want to thank our current patrons, Clint, Nephi, Nick, DJ Stasage from the Universe, Eric, Sean, Brother Sinitas, Phoenix Dave, and Moose P. Please visit patreon.com/MattBurlingame if you would like to become a patron of the show for as little as $1 a month. And, well, let me tell you, it was a dark day in history today. 2018, Larry Nassar, a former doctor for the USA Gymnastics, is sentenced to prison for sexual assault. For like years and years and years of it.
This day in 2019, I just got back from Honolulu right at the beginning of the pandemic.
Oh, wow.
They had just closed Wuhan.
No, 2019, 2020.
Oh, I guess it was 2020. Yeah.
Okay.
Right. Sorry, it all seems like so many years ago.
It seems so many years ago, and yet at the same time, it seems like it was just yesterday. I mean, it's like 1990. I swear, it was just last week, and then it was so long ago. Anyway, 1965, Winston Churchill died. In 2006, Walt Disney announced $7.4 billion purchase of Pixar.
I remember that.
2006. That's a long time ago. Now, were you in charge of the Disney account at that point?
Which year?
2006.
No.
Okay.
But I remember, I mean, because it was a big deal, for the business, because we knew with the backing of Disney that it was going to be like through the roof. And then they did Lucas and they did Marvel, and it was just like you could just feel it. Yeah.
Well, I have to say I'm kind of glad they did, because even though I don't really like conglomerates and monopolies and stuff like that, they really have made those products so fun, so fun. Anyway, moving on from that, 1972, a Japanese soldier was found hiding on Guam. 1935, the first canned beer goes on sale. Who knew? 1943, General Paulus said to Hitler, "Let us surrender." 1848, the gold rush was discovered because gold was discovered in Sutter's Creek, which is here, our hometown. It's amazing. We can go right over to the fort and say, wow, this is where it all happened. It's cool. Anyway, let's see. 1781, Light Horse and Swamp Fox raid Georgetown, South Carolina. And also in 1908, the Boy Scout movement begins. A long time. Well, anyway, let's go over to the check-a-day calendar and see if there's anything we've accidentally celebrated today. Oh my God, how weird. It's Beer Can Appreciation Day. Who knew? Who knew?
Wait, it's what?
It's Beer Can Appreciation Day. Because
Okay.
this is and we now know why. Today was when the first beer in 1935 was put in a can.
Okay.
Yeah. It's also Belly Laugh Day. Ready? Oh, 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 oh. I tried. All right. Better Business Communication, Community Manager Appreciation, Macintosh Computer Day, National Just Do It. Also, Talk Like a Grizzled Prospector Day. I guess that's because of the whole Sutter's Fort thing. Just found gold. National Peanut Butter Day, Lobster Thermidor, Eddie's Pie Patent, or Edie. I'm going with Eddie, E-D-Y. And then finally, it's National Compliment Day. So here I am going to practice National Compliment Day. Tom, I really love your plays. They are written very well. And I know because I've been working with them lately. Anyway, that is my compliment to you.
Thanks a lot.
You're welcome. All right, moving on. Today's affirmation. Oh, that one's over here. I let go of childhood fears. I am a secure, empowered human being. Yeah, right. All right. Birthdays. Guess who's got some birthdays coming up? I said guess.
I don't know.
Oh, okay. Today. Okay, we're at 111. Okay. Oh, we have no birthdays today? Well, I don't anyway on my stuff. Anyway, so upcoming birthdays. Happy birthday to Lisa, Shane, Tyrion, Janice, Marco, Jeff, Carla, and oh, you know what? Carla is one of our patrons' moms. Isn't that fun? Also, Juan and Clint D. And yeah, that brings us pretty much right up to February. So, wow, I was expecting more. That's interesting. Well, there we go. Okay, so we do have a couple things in our feed bag. Jay the Haunt Cub commented and said I totally get the Phil Collins thing. And that was about my dream about him and how hot he was at the time.
Are you sure this isn't for your other show?
I would debate it, but no, I think there was something we talked about. But
Okay.
either way, I'm happy to have any comments from Jay on either of our show. I mean, woof. All right. Sean wrote in and said, representations of podcasting in most TV shows, movies are absurd. They assume all podcasts are created by large media organizations with big budgets. Eye roll emoji. Thank you. Remember when they tried to have that whole show about the guy that quit his job and became a podcaster?
Yeah.
Yeah, that didn't work. Why? Because it's not real. It's not real.
Well, the thing is that the well-known podcasts are making money. You know,
Oh, you mean the crazy Joe Rogans?
well, Joe Rogan and Mark Maron, all those we're talking about crime today. Those things, they do really well and they make money. That's why Murders in the Building, only Murders in Our Building, is more fun, because that's really is huge. A lot of people listen to that stuff.
Yeah.
And then some of it makes money. But the fact is that that is like a quarter of a 0.32% of all podcasts.
Right.
And then the other 99% plus make nothing.
Yep. Absolutely. So anyway, it really is, for most of us, the love of doing it. And Sean also wrote in and said, if they can afford it without any problems, buy the test. This person asking about it sounds like a massive self-centered jerk. And that was about the advice question that we read, where the guy didn't want to buy the test to see what the dog was lineages was. So thank you for writing in about that, Sean. Really appreciate that. And I agree with you. All right, some Chub hugs. I want to send some Chub hugs out to our longtime listener, Charles. His cousin passed away, and I believe it was from COVID, and so very sad with that. And then also a big shout out and Chub hug to Moose B, just for being awesome. What you got?
So what do you think the COVID panic is suddenly all about?
Explain it to me, please, because I've heard this from several different places and I'm still not sure what it is.
Well, because look, up until, let's say, Thanksgiving, there were because right before I went on my trip, I started feeling sick. So I went and got a test, made an appointment, drove up there, got a test. I was home before my appointment was technically made. For, and there was nobody in line. I just drove right up, did it right through one of those, medication windows at the CVS, boop, boop, I'm done. And then all of a sudden, people are standing in line. People are panicked. Was it Omicron? Was it the fact that people were traveling and they needed to have, they only needed to have tests if they weren't fully vaccinated. They didn't have to have tests if they were fully vaccinated. I know some of it was where kids were going back to school, but college students but it was insane. And now it's kind of gone again.
Yeah, I really think that it was kind of the Omicron burst. Even Nephi down in Houston said that, like, when he went and got a test, that he was able to just get it, boom, 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 no problem. Nobody was with the no wait time. And then, like, practically the next day, he went to I think he was getting gas near one of the places where they do testing, and he said the line was around the block. It was just practically overnight. It was just flooded. So
yeah, I don't. And one other thing I thought it might have been was that Omicron came by, and all of a sudden, a lot of people were getting COVID.
Yeah.
So it was one of those I'm thinking it's one of those situations where people are going, oh, well, I talked to somebody and the next day they had COVID. Should I get tested? Yeah, you probably should get tested. So I'm thinking maybe the panic came from, I've actually been around somebody that had COVID.
It very well could have been. I didn't see much of it because I'm pretty much making myself a shut-in. But our dear friend, Mr. Clint, ended up going on a cruise for, I think it was like a week or 10 days or something like that. But he ended up having to fly to Florida, which I was more worried about him going to Florida than I was actually on a cruise to the Caribbean. But he said that you had to you had to test like 2 to 3 days, like every couple days, every day for the like 3 days before you got there. Then you had to, of course, do the plane checks and stuff. And then when you got there, they tested you again before you got on board. And then and then like they had every time you got off or were gonna get off or on the boat, they tested, you. So basically they were like really, but there still ended up being cases.
Right.
And because this was a boat with like supposedly held 2,000 people, and there was like 1,500 people that were on board. And he said that they did really well with the social distancing. They did really well, still making it fun, but with like keeping people apart. Yeah. Anyway, but that they did all that, and then they had like a below decks, like where they would, if somebody like tested positive, they would ask you to stay in the this, like a below decks cabin, and basically they would just, cater you with whatever you wanted to keep you in, away from other people.
Wait,
And there were people that ended up
was
testing
that below deck or below deck?
positive. Well, apparently because of COVID, they strongly discouraged any of that, but there was still a lot apparently going on around. So yeah,
Well,
he
you heard
said
someone
that.
died on the boat.
What?
Someone died on the boat.
No, they did not.
Yes, they did. I saw it on the news.
Not that one.
Oh, yes, that one.
Okay.
I mean,
Was
what?
it of COVID?
No, they didn't say what they died of. They just
Yeah, I
said
don't think
died.
so.
No,
But
I wasn't saying that it was COVID. I'm
yeah,
just saying somebody on board the ship died. Now that could have been anybody. I
yeah.
mean, I'm sure that not everybody was healthy, hunky.
Oh
Oh
yeah,
wait, no, Clint's
yeah.
not healthy and hunky young anymore. So he's healthy and healthy, but he's not young. But I mean, I'm sure there's people in their 70s, 80s that went on that too.
Oh
So
yeah, yeah.
so
Definitely.
I
Yeah,
mean,
I mean I
somebody
can see that. I just apparently the people that he knew about that did get it was like a couple days of a mild cold. And because you had to be vax and boosted,
sure.
et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, before they would even let you on. So so with that, I think they did pretty good. But again, I was more concerned about being in Florida, because Florida is crazy. I love all of our Florida listeners, but
But he had a
crazy.
better time in Florida than he did on the boat.
Yeah. He sent me some video of like the Fort Lauderdale, like where they were with the hotel, with the waterways and stuff. It was actually really beautiful.
Well,
So
then maybe
sad that
next
it's
year
run
you
by
should
crazy
go to the tsunami party. No, it's not tsunami. It's the wipeout party. What was the Halloween party that they have every year?
Cannonball.
Cannonball.
Yes, I would
Yeah.
like to go to Cannonball one time, or more than one time, but yeah. And we actually had some local friends that went and said that it was a really fun time. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Um,
Ah,
my friend Tom.
yeah.
Well, that's my hug.
Okay, that's nice. He deserves a hug.
Well, I don't know. Are you on his list?
No, no.
You know,
I was on Frank's for a while, but not
it's
Tom.
just he right away he like gave the clothes away to the Goodwill or whatever they have down there, and since they had moved out of town because they wanted something more of a home type thing, they had a bigger apartment. It was quite big. And so he's going to get rid of the apartment, and he was selling off furniture and stuff that he wasn't going to need, and he was going to move into a single apartment somewhere downtown, so he'd be closer to things that he does and the people he knows. So
Right.
but he's it's just I just want to kind of go there and give him a real hug, but I can't.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, definitely. that is a tough situation, especially, uh, dare I say, at their age.
Well, it's the age and it's the fact that, it's like, I know he's got friends down there,
Yeah,
that they've made, but it's just like all his older friends, long-term friends are here. And
right.
it's not like we can even just drive there for the moment,
Yeah,
it's not like he's over in Carmel and it's a couple hours to get there.
right. Yeah. Uh, um, that reminds me that I just had a discussion with another friend of mine who lost somebody a couple years ago, and they had family who was willing to like come and like help them, like, clear out all the other person's stuff. And he, unlike, Tom, who sounds like he was okay with that, wasn't ready. And sometimes you're just not ready to do that. It takes a while. It takes a while to process.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, it is good that he's forward thinking, able to do that.
Well, I think it's kind of a process you do to not think.
Right, exactly. And that's
Keep
that's
kind
what
of
I
busy.
did. That's what I did with my dad. It's like I just tackled shit because it was better than dwelling. Okay, ready? GOP official insists high school install litter boxes to accommodate students who identify as cats. The Michigan Republican Party co-chair is convinced that furry students are roaming the halls. Just a big slap at transgender people. Tucker Carlson whines inclusive M&Ms are now miserable, non-binary, and less sexy. It was a bizarre part of an entire weekend Fox dedicated to using one brand's weird marketing as an excuse to mock trans and non-conforming people. Colin Jost gets accused of queer baiting by new SNL co-star on Weekend Update. Jost offered to kiss Update co-host Michael Che after featured cast member Sarah Sherman complained, "It's always will they, won't they with you two." You watch Saturday Night Live. What do you think?
It was a joke.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking too.
No, it was. It's the new cast member. And so she goes, well, then you two should kiss. Oh, you don't want to kiss him because you don't like gay people. Doesn't that sound a little familiar?
All right. Samsung pulls ad with drag queen after conservatives erupt in outrage. A drag performing son tells his mother in the ad, "You are just unbothered having people looking or judging you differently. That was insensitive and offensive to some," Samsung said.
Well, have you noticed how many gay couples are on commercials now?
Oh, that's
I mean,
nice.
it's usually one of those where they have, there's a voiceover and they show a lot of different couples, but they usually have like a girl and a boy. Of course, usually it's like, cancer or, diabetes or something. But the fact is that they're still trying. I mean, I think it's a huge move.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, it really is. I'm amazed when I see how many, they're out there. Even when I'm watching like Peacock or something, and I'll see like an HIV medication or something being advertised, and it's like so many gays in your face, and I just like, wow.
Oh, you should watch.
When I was younger, this would not have happened.
Yeah, MSNBC. It's like you can see those HIV commercials. Well, things like PrEP and stuff like
Yeah.
that. All these different commercials, and they're all, it's like they've got transgender. Of course, it's only male to female because women can't take it. But it's weird because they show all these people of color, and then some guy in a rowboat. He's got a canoe. I'm like, where the fuck what's going on here? He's the only white guy in the commercial,
right.
and he's canoeing alone. I just don't understand it, because all of the people of color are all in couples, and they're going on first dates and dancing and rowing I don't get it.
Yeah. Well,
but I'll take
men need to be alone and reflect on all the crap that they've done to society. So, all right. Hey, Tom wants to talk to you about.
Well, okay, this is kind of fun. I'm running low on paranormal shows. So I found another new one called Knock Knock Ghosts, and I'm sure it's meant Knock Knock Ghosts. Okay, is how it's probably meant to be said.
What is that on?
It's on Discovery Plus.
Oh, okay.
Now, what it is it's two gay guys and a psychic. There's a kind of a chubby, well, he is chubby, he's a fat comic, and he's like somewhere around years of my age. I'm not sure where. I think they said he was 30, and I don't believe that. So or in his 30s, but he's got his friend with him named Brian, which is kind of funny. But Brian is this queen, just queen. It's like they do like the confessionals, and he's like, well, I just want to tell you that if I hear any noise at all, I'm going to shit my pants. Just shit my pants. I'm not afraid to say it. I will. I just will. And then he does a lot of, the woo, 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 screamings, So it brings on a whole different feel for the paranormal.
Yeah.
For the paranormal shows. And at some points, he's like almost in tears because he's so scared, which is kind of fun. And then the psychic is just kind of marauding, like over here, I feel something over here, and the guy's crying, and the other guy's making jokes. So it's a whole different look on the paranormal.
It's funny because I subscribed for a week or so to Out TV. Have you heard of them?
Yes.
Okay. So, and when I was scrolling through, because there's a show that I want to watch, I'll talk about a little bit later. So I started watching it, but I saw this one called Knock Knock Ghosts, and I was like, oh, I should tell Tom about that. And then I thought, well, no, he doesn't want to subscribe to another service. But there you have it.
And
You're already watching it.
Yeah, it's a Canadian show, so they're looking for ghosts in Canada, which is fun because I haven't seen not too many of these other people normally venture out of the U.S. So I don't know Canada. But yeah, so that was kind of fun. I just found it today, and I've already seen like 2 or 3 of them, I guess. No, cool. I almost started a third one, but I had to record, so didn't make that. But it's kind of fun, something different. Let's see. This week, what did I do? We lost the last gay guy off of Project Runway this week. And deservingly, it was terrible. He needed to go. He needed to go anyway. That's all. Yeah. RuPaul's Drag Race. So what happened was the first 2 weeks, they got rid of one girl 1 week, another girl the second week. This is the third week, and they brought those 2 girls back and said, no, they're not gone. And so now we're back to 14. And the one that left this week was June Jambalaya. And yeah, it was how I was explaining it on my other podcast was when they first start out, the first couple weeks, who's going far and who's not.
Right.
You really get a feel for it. So basically it's just a matter of, some may move up, from the middle towards the finale. Some may, falter, but for the most part, out of 14, there's probably 5 girls that you can go right away. Okay, they're not making it past midway on the show.
Right.
And June would have been one of them that I would have told you. So, but the California girls, I should say Northern California girls, the Fresno and Sacramento are still in it, doing well, actually doing very well. So that's good. Let's see, still trying to figure out what's going on Wheel of Time. I only have one episode left, so grateful for that.
Yeah.
I finished Hellbound. That was the one where the Sin thing, it was the South Korean thing where, and what happened was, I kind of finally just had to finish it because they, a baby was born, and the whatever, the way they come and talk to you, there's like a demon that appears to you. Well, the demon appeared to the baby and said, you're going to hell because you're a sinner. So all the people who were on the thing, this is the word from God, are going, wait, no, babies are born without sin. How could that be? They can't even take on the sin of their parents. They're born, without sin. And so they were trying to cover that up before the baby was killed by these creatures. So it was very confusing. And then it just kind of ended. And so like, oh, there's going to be a season 2 kind of ending. So, but I was intrigued, but I still want to know who's making these choices, who's sending these creatures to kill these people. And I what, like I said last week, sin is so subjective.
Yeah.
So and like I said, if you've got Marjorie Taylor Greene, her idea of sin is much different than what your idea of sin is. So it was it's interesting. It's very thought-provoking, maybe not as interesting as I hoped it would be, but it was very thought-provoking either way. The Secret of Sulphur Springs, that's the Disney show about the family that moves into the old hotel in Sulphur Springs, and then it's haunted, and so the kids are trying to find out what's going on. Season 2 just started, and it's very focused, much more focused than the first season was, and really actually very good. I mean, it's a Disney program, sure,
right,
but it has the feel of like, the old Candle Shoe, and the kind of the Haley Mills movies of the 60s. Okay. It's fun, and it's a little bit scary, but not that scary, and it's almost a thriller now. So glad that's back. Let's see. This was interesting. Now, I know you watched How I Met Your Father.
Mm-hmm.
Now, did you realize that the main woman, the mother, was Kim Cattrall?
It's funny because I was listening to you talk about that on the show. It took me like, I think a minute or two of her talking, and then I'm like, wait a minute, isn't that? And then I looked it up. I did recognize her, but it took me a minute because she had some work done, girl. I mean, and it looks good, but
oh yeah, wow. No, she looks great, but she's completely unrecognizable.
Yeah.
Now that's not a good thing for actresses.
I mean, I didn't think it looked bad.
Well, it doesn't look bad, but come on, your face is everything. If they don't recognize your face, then they don't know it's Kim Cattrall.
Yeah, and yet at the same time, people are shitting all over Carrie from As You Like It, because she's 55 and she's so old. She looks so old. She should have work done. She just looks so old. I'm like, what?
Okay, what? But you got to remember,
she looks old. She needs work done. Oh, she has work done.
Half the people, I know, but half the people are against plastic surgery. Half the people are for it. So you're always going to have 50% of the people pissed at one way or another. So that's just it's the world. But what's interesting is there's another new show called Single Drunk Female, which is also, both are on Hulu exclusively.
Oh, yeah.
And on that one, Ali Sheedy plays the mother. And she looks like her age.
Yeah.
I mean, at first I'm like going, why do I know who that is? And then I looked it up as well, and I'm like, oh my God, that's Ali Sheedy? Oh yeah, I guess it is Ali Sheedy. But she was mature.
It's funny because I had no interest in watching that, and then when I heard you say that it was Ali Sheedy, I'm like, oh, well, maybe I'll give it a look.
Yeah, it's How I Met Your Father isn't quite as interesting to me as Single Drunk Female, just because it's kind of fun watching people who are just a mess keep fucking up, in a comedy,
Yeah.
But because they resolve the situation. Usually they somewhat resolve it and everything's fine.
Mhm.
But it's funny. It was funny as the How I Met Your Father. I guess I don't know. It hasn't grown on me yet. I'll see how it works.
It's very formula. And that's the only thing about it that I mean, I actually did like it, but I didn't love it. But I was like, this is a very formula show. I hope that they get better. But I did think they made some good casting choices. So hopefully.
Yeah. Started watching a new show called Archive 81, which is on Netflix. It's about a guy restoring old videotape. This young guy, he's restoring videotape, and as he's restoring it, he's got them. Well, he was handed them in like what they consider chronological order. So basically, it's telling a story. So we're watching the story told out, and things that are he sees things in these videos and they relate to his life, so he's starting to get freaked out. Why did they choose me to do these? Why am I seeing things from my own life in there? I don't know who this girl is that's on this video. It's kind of got me hooked. So
Okay.
Peacemaker just started on Warner HBO Plus, HBO Max. It's John Cena.
Yeah.
It's funny because he's really an anti-hero because he's like a government man that I'll kill whoever I have to make sure this country's safe. But he's pretty funny doing it. So, and he's got a funny group of people that are surrounding him. So
Cool. I'm looking forward to that one.
yeah. Let's see. Ozark is back on Netflix.
I thought they did the last season.
Well, this is the last season.
Oh, okay.
So they're going to do 7 episodes now, and probably the last 7 episodes closer to the Emmy Awards, I would think, because they have been shit on from the Emmys year after year. They won 2. The same girl won supporting actress twice, for season 2 and season 3, and he won. Jason Bateman won for directing an episode of season 2, I think. Anyway, but it's like, where's Laura Linney's Emmy? Where's Jason Bateman's acting Emmy? They're not giving this incredible show enough credit, and it almost feels like you can look at other shows that just never get their due because all of a sudden Handmaid's Tale or Game of Thrones is so popular right now. We got to give that the Emmy. It's like, no, find what show really deserves it. And Ozark does.
Like Charmed, yeah.
Yeah, right. And on Queer Eye, you saw them all, right? The new ones?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. The Animal Sanctuary.
Yeah.
I was in tears.
Yep.
Through the whole thing. It's like, and it's funny because I've noticed that that all these people that they have been doing this season they're a lot like you and I have been in the past. We're not that way anymore, but we were devoted to certain things and felt like we couldn't let other people do that work because and most of the time it's true that you really have to find people who are as passionate about doing the kind. I mean, it's like she goes, we won't get a phone call at 2:00 in the morning saying that this dog is going to get euthanized if we don't come and rescue it. We're getting calls at 2:00 in the morning that we have a blind cow, and if you don't take it in, they're going to slaughter it. It's like, so all these animals, I mean, the dog with no back legs and the little goats that couldn't walk straight. And it was like one thing after another. I was in tears. Well, actually, I was an awful lot like that cheater Anthony in the show because he was it's so funny because it's like Jonathan, oh my God, look, it's a blind cow, how fabulous is that? And Anthony is like, oh my God, how does this, oh my God, that's how I felt through the whole stinking show.
Yep.
Oh my God, I was a mess. And and then we saw the next two as well, the one with the girl who did the bakery, the Asian bakery,
Oh yeah.
which was sweet. And wow, she rocked. That body rocked as soon as she got those big t-shirts on.
Yes.
I was really shocked.
Yeah.
And it was the guy who helped the homeless. So it's just like,
oh yeah, that was really a cool story.
So it was the shows have been really good. We only have one left. They go by so quickly.
I think
And
there's supposed to be more out, or no, I guess they're filming a new season now or something.
Okay, because it seemed like they only did like 8.
Yeah,
that's so few.
I know. I need more tears from them. So
yeah. I mean, it's like watching This Is Us, but with dancing in between scenes.
Yeah.
So it was, but I couldn't wait for that animal one to get over with, because it was just like I faced the TV and dabbed my eyes so Sean wouldn't see that I was weak.
Oh, he knows.
So I think that's about it for my week. I'm going to go see Mark Norman this week over at the Punchline, which means that I will be sitting in a Omicron circle. That'll be fun.
Yo,
Fully vaxxed,
girl. Yeah.
It'll be fun.
Yeah, it will be. It'll be good. And hey, you married a nurse, so they'll be able to give you some TLC when you get home. All right. Well, the room of requirement is now fully functional, and my mother is making full use of it. It's supposed to be kind of a craft room, so that we can, and craft and storage room, so that we can both, do some crafts in there. And so far, she's like, okay, and she just spread her stuff out all over the table. It's like, okay, well, I guess this is your crafts room now. So yeah. But that's pretty cool to have that space now. So of course, Louis Anderson, comedian who has been one of my absolute favorites since I was a teenager, passed away. And I one of the reasons that I loved him so much was because it was like, I think I was like, I don't know, 17, 18. He had a show, and I just rewatched part of it, of Louis Anderson at the Guthrie, 1987, and it was the first, and it was on VHS, and I remember watching it on VHS and then doing an audio recording of it, and like listening to the audio recording a lot when I was a kid, because it was one of the first times that I saw a great big chunky, and at the time we didn't know, gay guy who was funny and telling the joke and not the butt of the joke, which is pretty much all I'd seen on TV forever. That guy, butt of the joke. So he really meant a lot to me in that respect. So I'm really sad. And he wrote me, I wrote him at one point, and he sent me back an autographed photo with a really nice note on it. It was pretty cool. Anyway, also the Golden Girls.
Don't you want to know how I felt about it?
Oh, absolutely.
Well, I will hopefully not upset you.
Okay.
But I spent my entire time in Los Angeles fighting being accused of being Louis Anderson. I mean,
okay, did people mistook you for him, or
yes, yeah.
Okay.
And when I said I'm not Louis Anderson, they go, "We understand. We understand." Of course, I was harassed in restaurants, at parties.
Wow.
Yeah. I was at the Pee-wee's Big Adventure party, and I had this one girl who was just opening up a gym. She goes, I know, of course, with your, the gym isn't your place, right? But still, if you ever want to come by and make an appearance, I would love that. And I'm like,
Oh,
I'm not who you think I am. And she goes, of course you're not. Okay. No, I mean, it was so, when I go into
wow.
auditions and they go, well, we're not really looking for a Louis Anderson type. And if it was a Louis Anderson type job, then it was usually Louis Anderson that got the job. And so,
Ah.
like, for instance, he was going to be playing up here in Northern California next week.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Well, if I
And
had known,
And I
well,
remember
obviously,
telling Sean, I'm not, I wouldn't mind seeing him
yeah,
live, but I'm not going there and having everyone, gawk. Why is he sitting out in the audience? Maybe he just comes, stands up and no.
yeah,
So yeah, it's part of me is, I mean, I'm sad because, I'm sure he
yeah,
was a really nice guy
yeah.
and he did a lot of good for comedy. But at least now no one's going to go, oh my God, he's up from the grave.
Right.
See, I have a little bit of split in
Uh-huh.
the tooth, so that always got me in trouble too. I mean, I go, look, I've got better teeth than him. You got a split in your tooth.
Yeah,
Come on, we know. I mean, we don't know. It's not
yeah.
you. You're not him. Of course not.
That's
So,
actually, I think that's pretty cool. I had thought that, if at some point that maybe I could play his, in his life biography, but I think I'm kind of past that now. Uh,
well, believe me,
Too old to play him younger.
I was waiting for him to get his own TV series, and then he'd need a brother, and then
Yes.
I wouldn't dislike him so much. Um, so
Okay.
yeah.
So I came across a video on YouTube that was entitled. It's by a guy that does it like really good in-depth stuff about talking about television shows and reviews and things. And one of his ones was Golden Girls: Why Gays Love Them. And of course, it was like, I don't know, 24 minutes or something. And I was like, I don't think I'm going to hold my attention that long, but I'll start it. And I watched the whole thing, and there was so much stuff there that I had either forgotten about or didn't know that they had done, that all four of them have done for the queer community. And it also jogged my memory of the things like how, gay wasn't being talked about or whatever. And they did. They just, all the shows that they did with the, like the lesbian character who fell in love with Rose, the
That
uh
was the episode I saw live, by the way.
really? Oh, that was so cool. That is really cool. See, I'm bringing up all this stuff, and you were there. And then the brothers and the sons and stuff that were being gay or transgender or whatever, and Sophia, being, I wouldn't love them less. So it would just it I really it refreshed my memory and made me love them and the show even more. So
Yeah,
it
don't
is a
forget,
good thing.
Estelle Getty was the mother on the original cast of Torch Song Trilogy.
Yes, and I didn't know that. And then she apparently considered herself so much part of the community that when she, like would meet a gay person or something like that, she's like, "You're one of us. You're one of us." And what she was meaning was that she was such an ally that she considered herself, right in the gay community.
And
And
didn't B. Arthur leave like a ton of money to the gay community?
yeah, it was a
It was
housing
in for New York,
for for youth.
teenagers,
Yeah,
homeless teenagers.
and I think it was like, I don't know, $600,000 or something like that. But oh, and I saw a picture of her
Excuse me.
son. Her son's name is Matthew, adopted, absolutely gorgeous guy, and very, very. It seems like he's a very, very nice person. So anyway, so if you want to go see that, I really encourage you to refresh your memory on why they were so awesome for the gays, and it's on YouTube. So getting into TV shows, I just watched the new episode of Boba Fett today, and it's awesome. It finally got to where they explained how he met his right hand woman. it's a really good show. I do kind of wish they'd speed up some of the confrontations and stuff a little bit with the other groups, but it's really good. Did you see the last one yet?
Yes.
Okay.
I was confused at the beginning. I'm like, is this this is a flashback, right?
Yeah.
Because at first I'm like going, why am I what's going what because they didn't usually they give you an idea of we're going into a flashback.
Yeah, when he's in the water tank.
Yeah, they'll give us of course you really can't say. I mean, I guess you could have said, 20 years earlier or 10 years earlier.
Yeah.
But that would have helped.
Yeah. At least it's not as bad as that one as the first episode or the first season of The Witcher, where you didn't know what the fuck time period you were in through so much of it. Okay, so and then I watched the new episode of And Just Like That, which is of course the Sex and the City spinoff, and it was kind of a filler episode, I think. I mean, although there was a prosthetic dong, you got to see the dark haired woman, I forget her name. Anyway, her husband and big old schlong, very big, but it was a prosthetic. And then in a later scene, you get to see this very ripped guy, and he is just fully naked. He drops his towel and stuff. But I don't know, just not all that much happened in this one that I was like, okay, I think this is kind of like just setting up stuff to jump to B, because Miranda asked. Well, I'm not going to do that spoiler. But yeah, I'll see it coming, I'm sure, if you're watching the show. The only thing that I thought was really funny, though, was that the storyline for Carrie was that she had noisy neighbors move in, and she felt like she was the old woman, like telling them to shut up and stuff because it was like 4 a.m. And she got mammed several times, and she's all like, "Oh my God, I got mammed." And I was just looking at her, and I'm like, girl, if you just now got mammed, I'm just saying, I think you've been mammed before. So Call Me Kat, great episode, very fun. It's really hitting its groove, and I'm really, really enjoying it. The Great. So you and Brian have been going on about The Great for a long time. I resisted. I watched season 1 and 2 episodes of season 2, and then I needed a little bit of break because it is very fun and very campy, but it is also a little bit heavy. So it's kind of a wild ride.
Well, wait till Gillian Anderson shows up.
Okay, because I'm sure that's coming up fairly soon.
Yeah.
Basically, I'm at the episode where they just kind of signed the peace thing between them. But I will say that Emperor Peter there is pretty hot.
Well, did you notice that they all grew body hair from season 1 to season 2?
I did not, but I'm looking forward to noticing that because
it was so funny because everybody was running around because they have all the flaring shirts and stuff, and I'm like, oh God, look at this! It's like it's teenage boys running around,
right.
And
then it's Russia.
This year they're heaving chest hair, and I'm like, okay,
yeah.
Good, finally. I don't know why they're all so afraid of chest hair. I mean, even like on The Bachelor, you can tell half of them are shaved, and it's like, that's got to, are you shaving your chest every day? Because so you don't get like a 5 o'clock shadow on your boobs. No, I mean, it's ridiculous. I guess it makes them look more mature, and that's the problem. But
I guess, but I love a good hairy chest.
I know. Can you imagine if Tom Selleck had been shaving his chest all these years, or Sam Elliott?
That's an abomination. I don't even want to. Yeah,
absolutely.
So it is a really good show, a really, really good show. And then so movies, I watched Pokemon Detective Pikachu.
Again?
No, did I say that last week?
No,
I
no,
didn't
you
think I
watched it
did.
before.
No, I've never seen it until just this last week.
Okay.
Yeah, but I thought it was really good. It was not as kidsy or dorky as I thought it might be. So I'd actually say I would actually recommend that for just a fun weekend movie. Um,
Yeah, to me, it seemed it was a little too. I mean, first of all, I never played Pokemon at all, so and it wasn't the difference of the characters that it was just. It was almost like what was the one with the little racing guy,
Sonic, which they
Sonic,
just
and
released are
there's
releasing
there's
Sonic
a
2.
goofiness that
Yeah.
I don't appreciate.
Right, and that's one of the things that I liked about the Pokemon movie is the goofiness kind of wasn't
No,
there.
oh yeah, it is. It's there with all the with the humans, not
Right.
so much with the creatures, but the humans are all, it's just that sense of humor was lost on me.
Yeah. Yep. I agree, and that's why when I saw the advertisement for the Sonic 2 movie, I was
Wait,
just
you
like,
watched Ender's Game?
well, I'll get there.
Oh, okay.
So also I ended up watching Home Again with Reese Witherspoon and Candice Bergen, which I have no idea why this was on my list to watch, but I did. And it was actually a really nice little film. Three guys want to be, make a movie. They go to Hollywood. They end up staying with Reese Witherspoon, who is the daughter of this famous movie person that they all worship. And then Candice Bergen is there, and she was not in it enough. Actually, she was really good. Um, but it was just your standard kind of movie. Was this a theater release?
Hmm.
Wow. I can't I could see this as like a really good TV movie, but yeah. Okay. And then yes, I watched Ender's Game because I got a free copy of it. Otherwise, I would not have put any money into that, even though he's dead. Orson Scott Card, the bigot. Anyway, I watched Ender's Game. I thought it was a well done movie,
Sure.
but I will tell you that it stuck with me a little bit afterward. And I just thought, God, that is a fucked up story. Just
Well,
fucked up
but
story.
okay, you know what they called the creatures
Buggers. Yeah.
and what that means, right?
Yep. Oh yeah.
Okay, because that was the thing that got me in during the show because I went and saw it, when I reviewed it, and I'm
Hmm.
sitting there going, okay, am I the only one that knows what that means in England?
Yeah.
He's he could call it whatever, he can make the creatures look whatever he wants them to look like, but he's calling them fags.
Yep.
Okay, queers, fags. That's
Hmm.
what these things are, and they need to die.
Right.
Yeah,
And
and it just oozes out of that show.
yeah. Well, the whole thing is so rooted in like
Hate.
bizarre masculinity and I mean, just right down to the kids who are young kids. Of course, they're recruits in whatever it is, army or whatever service.
Right.
But I mean, they're brutal. I mean, they're ready to kill each other with no don't give a shit about it either. And so of course then they find the nerds, they put them all together. But I mean the end of the movie, I guess it's not a spoiler because it's been out forever. Uh I mean, I saw it coming, knew that that's what was going to happen, and they still did it, blow up an entire, wipe out or genocide a planet from this. Oh, and the kid, I guess, in the book was supposed to be like 10 or something like that. So they upped him to like 14. I don't know. The whole thing just left a bad feeling,
Oh,
bad
it's
feeling,
yeah,
right up to when
yeah.
he knocked that kid out, and the kid's basically going to die for have a brain tumor for the rest of his life or whatever. Awful, awful movie. But I will say that it was also very well done. So, um, How I've Met Your Father, we kind of talked about that. Uh, Afterlife. What is it? Oh yeah, I watched that movie Afterlife, which is about a father and son who get stuck on Earth which they left like 1,000 years ago. They get stuck on Earth, and then like the sun has to travel across the Earth to find some beacon to shoot into space, and he battles evil monkeys and other things. And the whole thing is that he has to lose all his fear so that he can't be sensed by the big monster.
Now, wasn't that Will Smith?
No.
I don't know. I'm gonna look this up.
That's what I thought too when I first saw it. I'm like, that's Will Smith. No, it wasn't. But I mean, it was not a bad movie, but again, it just was so.
Which one did you
feeling
see?
Gross after what?
There's an awful lot of afterlives.
It could have been let's see, Afterlife. It's not Netflix. I'll just say movie. Oh yeah, you're right. Wow.
Remember what year it was?
It was very recent. It was just like from a couple of years ago, I think. This is brilliant podcasting here.
Yeah. You could.
No, it wasn't 2009. I think no. Anyway, but the actor, you'll know because the lead actors were black, and it was. I want to say that I liked this movie, but it just missed. It could have been really, really good, and it just missed. Anyway, so also I subscribed to Out TV. There was a show that I kept getting recommended to watch called Sex and Violence. It stars Olympia Dukakis, and it basically, I think it's a Canadian show, but it is about these social workers and that work with domestic abuse victims. And then there's like the hospital, there's a doctor and he's kind of in it. And so in the first episode, I think it's the first episode, Olympia Dukakis, who was about 80 when she filmed this, maybe a little more, gives a blowjob. And then
Are you frozen?
Am I? What?
I think you're frozen.
Uh-oh.
Let it go.
Hello? Now you're frozen.
You're frozen.
As long as you can hear me. Hello?
Okay. I can hear you now.
Can you hear me? Am I moving?
I can hear you, but you're not moving.
Okay, so we took just a little break there to let the internet catch up to us. Who knew? We ran so fast. Anyway, so Tom discovered the movie is After Earth, not Afterlife. Thank you for finding that out. It's from 2013. And I said that wasn't Will Smith that was in it, but I was wrong. That was Will Smith and Jaden Smith. It was written by Will Smith, and it had apparently the entire Smith and Pinkett family in it.
Well, it was also M. Night Shyamalan.
Really?
Yeah, he's the director. Girl, catch up.
I just, it was in my list. I didn't pay attention, but okay. Well, I mean, that's the thing is I thought it was, I wanted to say it was a great movie, but it was a good movie. Put it that way.
I thought it was a bad movie.
See, I didn't mind it that much, but it was very cookie cutter, formulaic, standard father, and son thing, and son must prove to father, and then he has to lose all fear at the end. I was just like, it's very masculine. So anyway, moving on from that. And then Sex and Violence, I told you about. It's very wild and gory. There's one scene where this mistress, a guy is cheating on his wife with a mistress, and the mistress finds out that he's still having sex with the wife, so super glues his dick to his stomach and down the hole into the shaft and his butthole after knocking him out. So, and then he has to go to the doctor, and obviously, and then there's another woman who has acid thrown in her face. Just really hard to watch stories, but very engaging. Yeah, and Olympia Dukakis is absolutely wonderful in it too. She's very playing against any of her, former types. Anyway, so that's kind of what I've been watching this week. And now we want to remind you to be loud, be proud, be too much, and to be you. Fat Marker Clothing wants those of us who have been told that we are too much of something to turn those negatives into positives. Chubs Come Wild listeners, you could do that by using the code FMWildChub to get 20% off anything while ordering over at fatmarkerclothing.com. And also, congrats to Fat Marker for their Tampa Pride 2022 design being approved and official, and it is available as a unisex t-shirt or tank top. All you have to do is go over and show your pride at Fat Marker this year. Go over their site, pick it up, 20% off. Yay. All right. You want some advice? You want to doll out some advice, girl? Here we go. My husband, small children, and I live next door to a small apartment building in which all the units have large picture windows facing our home. Since the beginning of last month, one particular neighbor on floor 2 has been repeatedly making adult films with the lights on and blinds open on an average of 3 times a week, as early as 7:45 p.m. I believe it is known that we could see inside his unit. A couple times I tried to ignore it, but it's becoming incredibly and increasingly blasé. I don't have a relationship with this neighbor, and I've never crossed paths in the neighborhood. I'm not even aware of his unit number. How can I get the message across that while we recognize he is welcome to do whatever he would like in his own home, this mother of 2 would also appreciate it if he could make it happen with the blinds drawn. Signed, poured out.
We had our neighbors directly behind us. They were doing, I don't know if they were making movies or not, but they were doing something sexual with the windows, curtains open.
Yeah.
And they caught us looking, but that's not the point. The point here is that if you don't want to see your neighbors making adult films and you don't want your kids to see that, you either draw your own curtains or fucking move. I mean, it's you could even go over there and say, hey, look, can you draw your blinds? I don't care what you do, but there's probably kids that are watching this, because if I can see them, then everybody on my side of the building can probably see what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like, Karen, calm the fuck down.
Yeah. See, I probably wouldn't mind watching myself, but I might if I had, kids and I was a woman and all that stuff, I guess. But anyway, point being, I don't get it, because something like this, wouldn't they obviously this is a better neighbor, but I can see people calling the police and saying, exposure, arrest them, oh my God, type thing. I'm surprised that hasn't happened if they're making adult films that often with the windows open and everybody can see. Yeah. But,
Well, Poughkeepsie Porn Company never got them called on them, so.
That's true. But I would just say, well, either a nice note saying, hey, could you fucking wait until a little bit later when the kids are in bed?
No.
Or just, Yeah.
No,
Pull your blinds and get over it.
yeah, I mean, lateness or early, doesn't help. The fact is that you've got a picture window that we can see what you're doing, and we don't want to see it. So, and maybe for your own goodwill, you may want to close your windows before somebody calls the cops.
But who the hell, unless, see, my thing is it must be part of, they must want them open either for light or exposure or whatever, because other than that, if I'm making an adult movie, I ain't gonna be putting it where somebody can watch us being.
Okay, you remember Naked Boys Singing?
Yeah, kind of.
And remember the one straight guy, we couldn't figure out why he wanted to be in the show until
Oh,
opening night when he had a heart on the entire show
yeah, but that doesn't mean that. Yes, I
because
do.
he liked people to see him
Right,
naked.
but just because you're making porn doesn't mean that you're a voyeur or not voyeur, but
Exposition.
yeah, there you go, exhibitionist.
Yes.
So I'm just saying, I don't get it.
I don't get it either, but that's because
Oh,
I don't live in a high-rise apartment. But
true. I closed it. I was like not even going to read her advice. Her advice is, this is unfortunate, but I think the simplest and best plan here is to draw your own blinds in the evenings. Yeah, I think that would just be fine. But it just seems weird to me that, yeah, nobody's done it or said anything about it other than this person to Dear Prudie. I call fake. All right. Hey Chubs, what's your favorite flavor of milkshake?
well, the only milkshake I'll drink is a banana milkshake.
Wow. Huh.
Well, I don't like milk, so
I know, but
and as a kid, if when someplace, well, because like Dairy Queen, you could get a banana milkshake. You could, because they have bananas for the banana splits, so they always had bananas available for the banana milkshake. So
yeah. I don't know why that sounds gross to me.
uh,
I don't think it is. I'd probably try one, but it just doesn't sound interesting to me. Oh, I figured I did have a what you call it, the one where they dump it upside down a blizzard or something. It was like banana and vanilla wafers or something once. Anyway, hey Chubbs, favorite elementary school.
what's yours?
What? Oh, what's mine?
Jesus.
Um, I'm very bland. I just like vanilla.
Well, just have some ice cream then.
No,
Well,
ew.
that's right, because that's all been, a milkshake
Yeah,
is
but you can have
just
fucking
ice
chocolate ice
cream
cream
and
too, or
milk.
strawberry.
What?
Boring. You can have no. I just like a good vanilla shake. Moving on. Favorite elementary school teacher.
Mr. Dallum.
And what was he? Well, I guess he didn't teach anything, just elementary school, right?
Yeah, sixth grade.
Sixth grade. Okay. Cool. Uh, anything about him that stood out or why he was so awesome?
Well, what I liked about him was that he called me on my shit. A lot of teachers, just, they don't, I think, kids don't know when they're doing shit wrong a lot of times. And I remember for the spelling bee, I thought I was being really clever because I said it was something about when the police came, the blah blah blah. The word was somewhere in there, right? So you had to write it in a sentence. And I said when the pigs came, blah 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 blah. And he goes, "Okay, this is not good. You don't call them pigs. They're called police officers. They're there to protect." And of course, this wasn't during the age of
right. Well, that we knew,
like right now, but
yeah.
but what it did was it made me think that maybe I need to be careful of the words I use.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, and that's to a 10-year-old.
Yeah.
And I remember I saw him in a Bel Air, and I said, Mr. Dallman, he remembered me. It had been years. And I said, I just want to tell you that you really made a difference.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
Wow. So since this is specifically elementary, I will say that I had my favorite teacher would probably be Mr. Machado, and he was gay, and he was actually a friend of my grandmother's because my grandmother was a teacher, and he was my fourth grade teacher, and he would dispense marbles and discs. Marbles were meant that you could have 5 minutes playground time uh, during class, as long as it was your work done or whatever. And then the discs were like 10 minutes or something like that. Anyway, so we were in the classroom when he wasn't there, and other kids were doing it. So I went up and I put my hand in the marble jar, and I was taking a couple marbles, and he walked in and caught me, and he was actually very cool about it, and he really, kind of laid it out that I was a bad boy. And then he actually did give me a marble. He said, since it's your birthday, because it was my birthday, you may have one marble. However, and then he laid it down, and it was such a being caught experience that it always stuck with me, and I didn't steal again. I like it kind of put me on the straight and narrow. So anyway, so that was an incident that stuck in my head. So it wasn't Mrs. Jan, but anyway, I loved her too. All right. So got a Golden Girls trivia question for you. Ready for this? Yes,
Sure.
you are. I know you are. What did Charlie, who was Rose's husband, what did Charlie specialize in selling for an iron factory? Yeah, I had no idea either. Horseshoes. Surprise.
I thought you meant ironing, like
Oh yeah, no, I guess he worked for an ironing company, but yeah, I never heard that. So bad for me, bad. Well, we actually have nothing in our lunchbox. I guess Mr. Moose is
shovel's no.
he is on a fasting plan, I guess. I don't know.
He's not happy with the price of food right now.
Well, that's me. I'm
Nor
right
is
there along
anyone.
with you.
Well, yeah, it's, and I keep telling people, they go, I can't believe I paid this much for beef. And I go, why are you buying beef? Just stop buying it. You can do things, chicken's still cheap. A lot of pork is still cheap. Turkey's still cheap. Then don't, do a different recipe. Use ground turkey instead of ground beef. I'm not.
Sometimes
I want a steak so bad. But I'm not going to pay. Where were we? We were at Safeway, a ribeye steak, which used to run, on the high would be around $8.99, $9.99, $19.99 a pound.
Yeah.
And it's like, no,
a 3-pound roast, $30.
But you know what's interesting? If you go to the websites of the places where you can buy like a quarter of a cow or a half a cow or a whole cow, their prices have not gone up.
No. And that's why I kind of want to go over. We used to go to a butcher every month or every 2 months. We would go over to the butcher and we would get a freezer pack, which would cost, I don't know, about $115.
Right.
And you got like 12 pounds of, ground beef. You got several different kinds of steaks. You got chicken strips. You got, like all these different options of stuff that would be in, and you could replace items. Like I thought ribs were pointless for us, but you get rid of the ribs and you get 3 more pounds of roast of ground beef, things like that. And it was really good. And I've been thinking about trying to go over there and seeing how their prices are,
Yeah,
because
because
and Safeway is fucking ridiculous.
oh my God, Safeway is they're like,
Everything.
well, the thing is that this everyone's taking big time advantage
Mhm.
of, oh well, the problem here is that the demand is too high and we don't have the product right now. And I'm like, bullshit. I
Yeah.
call bullshit.
Yep. It is.
You're just everyone's trying to make a run at the cash. This is completely a cash thing.
Everything, especially at the Safeway over here, is why I don't want to shop there anymore. Everything has gone up at least $1, if not $2 or $3. Like I used to get a $9.99 bag of frozen boneless, skinless chicken tenders, and I would get probably 2 or 3 a month there, and now that's gone up to almost $13. And for some people, they'd be like, it's only a couple dollars, it's no big deal. But when you don't have the money, that's what, 10, so $9 that could have gone toward
Right. You know what threw me?
what?
Potato chips.
Oh, yeah.
First of all, the bags are half the size that they
Yep.
used to be,
Mhm.
and just as empty inside as they used. You could feel
Yep.
thinking, well, maybe they just did them smaller. So no,
Mhm.
still got the half thing of air, and they're like $5 a bag. I remember when you could get 3 for $5 a bag just a few years ago. The thing is, I stopped eating potato chips last year when we were dieting, and then all of a sudden they're out of. It's like I was buying chips before that and they weren't that much, and now boom, they're way high.
Yep.
And the only way you can get a deal is if you get like 2 for $6, and you're still getting a pretty much empty bag of chips anyway.
You get 2 for $6 and you're getting the same amount as a bag that you bought for $2.50 a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
Not to mention, have you seen wine bottles? Our sweet neighbor here, Larry Dean, he had some wine in this bottle, and the concave in the bottom is even higher now. It's practically toward the middle of the glass, so that they can put less in,
Right.
but charge the same or more.
Yeah, let's see, what was the other thing that there was another one that really got me, and I am
Seen the price of candy bars lately? Boy.
Oh, well, they have been going up and up and up.
Yeah.
And it's still, once again, it's still cheaper to go out and buy one of those cases of them.
And a half gallon of ice cream is like almost $8.
Yeah, you need to go to Foodco more though.
Yeah.
You get the Kroger brand, 5 pounds of tater tots for $5. Come on.
See, that is just incredible. We need an Aldi's.
Oh, you can also get I think it's a 4 or 5 pound bag of what is pizza rolls for $5.
Now, see, that is a really good deal. Love that.
And the thing is, they're better than Tortinos because when you cook them, they don't explode in the oven.
That is so funny that you say that, because we have a bag of tortilla of that. It's like a 1 pound. It's like a big bag, and it was like $9. And every time I put them in there, pop.
Yeah,
that's funny. It's right on. All right. Currently, LGBT.
What's that?
Shush.
What's that barking?
It's the studio cleaner who's not doing her job.
Is she crapping in the classroom?
No, but she does use the litter box. I'm telling you that she's a cat in her past life. She always wants to be up as high as she can go. She climbs on everything, and she uses a litter box. So I don't know. Okay.
I'll need to try that too.
All right. Currently, LGBTQ people of color in America have a disproportionately high rate of new HIV infections. Golden Rule Services of Sacramento want you to know about an important tool in preventing you from contracting HIV. Pre-exposure prophylaxis, aka PrEP, is a medication proven to be 99% effective when preventing HIV infection. To learn more about PrEP, call your local sexual health clinic. And to find out more about Golden Rule services, visit sacgrs.org. All right. So you can send us an email at chubsgonewild@gmail.com. Leave us a comment at chubsgonewild.com. Like us on Facebook, facebook.com/chubsgonewild. Watch our videos over at YouTube. Just go over there and Google, search whoever we are, Chubs Gone Wild. And please consider becoming a patron of the show over at patreon.com/Matt Burlingame. Find Tom's movie and TV reviews, SponnerandJudd.com. Find their podcast in iTunes or on iHeartRadio. And listen to them in the shower while you're naked and soaping up. Find out more about Matt's books over at justkisstheguy.com and check out my other podcast at BigGaySexShow.com. And give us a call at
0869 Chubs.
Yes, Queen. Well, sounds like there might actually be somebody here. So we're going to go ahead and close this out. Thank you so much for joining us, and we hope to hear from you. Don't forget to enter into the Valentine's Day contest. We love you, and we'll catch you next time.
Bye.